All right, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Tuesday, February 22nd edition of the MMAOB Daily Podcast. I'm your host, as always, Adam Martin. I'm joined by my co-host here Monday, Tuesday afternoon, Mr. Big Marcel. What's going on, man?
All good, man. All good. How about you?
Good, Marcel. And I'm excited to talk about this card with you, man. I always look forward to Tuesdays doing this podcast. It's one of my favorite hours of the week, so I always look forward to doing it, man. We got hype in the chat. What's going on, man? I hope you guys join us for today's podcast. It's going to be a good show, I think. We got 12 fights to break down at UFC Vegas 49 this weekend, Marcel. There is a Bellator card this week as well, and a PFL card again. So we'll talk about those like briefly at the end, but the focus of today's show is the UFC card. So let's get into it, Marcel. I'm pulling it up right now. Just what's your overall thoughts on this card? Because last week, let's be fair, we both said it wasn't going to be a great card. It turned out to be a pretty good card. So is it one of those things again this weekend? Same thing?
I mean, it's funny, man, that the UFC actually make it look like they have some good prelims on it, but actually the main card kind of, some fights. I think there were some prelims deserve to be on the main card, and some main card fights I'm really not really interested in, and maybe two of them. So, yeah, we'll see, and it's also weird that two of those main card fights are pretty high on the card. So,
Yeah.
even pretty high on the main card. So, I mean...
Yeah, the placement's not ideal, I would say.
I don't understand
I prefer if they had you doing the placement, honestly. Like, I feel like you
Yeah.
have a good, method of doing it. But anyways, whatever. The fight, at the end of the day, we're going to watch the fights, right? So it doesn't really matter. I think this mattered more back in the day when you couldn't see all the fights, Marcel. But now since we watch them all, it's whatever. Having said that, when you're on the main card, it's the UFC giving you, hey, it's giving you a push. So there's a reason these guys are on the main card and girls in this case. Let's get into the card, Marcel. Let's start with the first fight. We got Joe in the chat as well. What's up, Joe? And you guys have any comments during the chat, throw them in there. We'll take any comments, obviously, or questions. We're here for the next hour with you guys. We'll start off the first fight of the night, Marcel, and we'll get into it and then break down the rest of the card. So we got Victor Altamirano against Carlos Hernandez at flyweight. I'm going to start this one off, Marcel. This fight is a real head scratcher to me. Like, I feel like these guys are almost the same fighter. Like, I'll be honest with you, they're very similar guys. They're both for Contender Series. They both had split decision wins. They both are on 6-fight win streaks, so they both have some momentum coming in here. I feel like this is like a very close fight. To me, it's definitely a pick-em fight. Very tough fight to call, I believe. I'm really going back and forth on this one, guys. I gotta be honest with you. Like, I think either guy could win. So I would not bet on this fight at all. I would stay the hell away from this fight because I think either guy could win. Potentially a split decision. I do think it's that close of a fight, Marcel. Victor Altamirano, he's the dog here, slight dog. He's not a bad fighter. He had some nice fight. Sorry, he's on a 4-fight win streak, not 6 fights. I apologize. The other guy's on 6-fight win streak, Hernandez. But even the 4-fight, he's on he's a 7-fight win streak. But here's the thing with Altamirano, he's looked pretty good, but some of these wins were kind of like he just squeaked by these fights, guys. With Candelario, I don't even know if he won that fight. That Ocon guy, he barely squeaked by. Even the Nate Smith fight, I mean, he won, but it wasn't like dominant. You could say the same thing with Hernandez, though. The Bears fight, he barely won that fight. I thought the other fight with Wells and LFA was good. I don't know, man. This is a tough fight to call, Marcel, honestly. The only thing I am looking at is Hernandez does have quite a bit of amateur experience. He had wins over guys like Charles Johnson and Jose Johnson, who are both doing really well right now. So I kind of look at that as a slight positive, but it's still tough. I'm leaning slightly towards Carlos Hernandez, like this absolute slightest, Marcel. Like 50.1% to 49.9%. Like, to me, this is like one of the hardest fights of the year to call. Give me your thoughts on this one, because I'm really having a hard time with this fight. What do you think?
Yeah, it's difficult, man. I saw, by the way, Carlos Hernandez had a win over Matt Brown, but it's the Walmart Matt Brown. I never heard of that guy, actually. But, yeah, it's a super close fight, I think, and flyweight fight, looking forward to it. Altamirano, got to be honest, man, I thought Candelario won that fight on the Contender Series,
Yeah.
Although Hernandez, he fought Danny Barras, and he also barely won the fight.
Yeah.
So I kind of feel I go the other way, man, because super close. You picking Hernandez. I feel more for Altamirano, although I'm not sure, super 50-50. But hey, let's start the show this time with a different pick, right? And it's super close, so I'm going with Altamirano in this one.
I don't blame you at all. Like I said, I'm literally going back and forth on this one, and it's just a really hard fight to call. I don't have a great read in this fight. I'm not betting on this fight. I think for fantasy, I would kind of stay away from this one because I feel like it's going to a decision. You think it goes to the decision, Marcel? I feel
maybe another split or something.
That's what I think. I feel like it's going to be another split, and whoever gets it probably deserves the UFC contract. But I don't know, man. We'll see what happens. I mean, it could end up being a decent fight, but I just don't have a great read on it and how it's going to go. I mean, these guys, again, no UFC fights. It's just not a great fight to bet on, guys. Daniel says Altamirano's lack of balance ability to stay on the feet is more on the consistent Hernandez. Yeah, I think Hernandez, I think he's slightly better on the feet, a little faster, better footwork, I think. I think Altamirano's probably a slightly better grappler, though. That does worry with Hernandez because, you know, he has been taken down in his fights. That's the one problem with this guy. The one loss he had in his debut fight, I guess because Gustavo Balart, he got taken down for 3 rounds. He's like an Olympic wrestler, dude, that guy.
Yeah, is it that dude like 4'10" or something? Super short.
He's 9'4". Oh, his height 4'11". Yeah, he's a really small dude. Yeah. But he did beat him in that fight, so he took him down at will, right? But since it was 5 years ago, 5 years ago actually. So I mean, I think he's improved since then, right?
Mm-hmm.
By the way, he also has a win over Mike Russell, the dollar store Mike Russell, not the journalist guy Mike Russell. Another one. Bet on a draw. I mean, it could be Balart to tank. I mean, he looked good in that fight. I'll give him credit for that. Kamaru Usman did the commentary for that fight too.
Fuck, dude. If you're gonna put money on a draw and it happens to be a draw, you got a huge shout out, man. I tell you that.
Let me check what the odds on a draw. I mean, for that to happen, it would have to be a 10-8 or a 10-10 round, which I don't really see happening. But let me see what the odds on that are. Just because Daniel, you know, he's got a few extra dollars to throw away, I guess. Fight to draw is plus 5,500. It's not something I would do, but I am looking at over 2.5 rounds in this fight, though. I'll also tell you that, guys, or fight goes the distance, minus 150. I think it goes the distance, Marcel. I do. I don't think there's a finish in this fight. So I think that would be I would rather bet on the fight just going the distance at minus 150 and just hoping no one gets a finish. That's what I'd rather hope on, bet on here, because I feel like it's just such a hard fight to call. And I have no problem with you disagreeing with this because I really have no idea either. Yeah, it was good. His get-up game was nice. Gustavo's it's not bad at all. And again, it was 5 years ago. So that's all I'm saying. All I'm saying is, like, I did see a hole in his wrestling, but I think it's slightly better now. Although again, Barras took him down a bunch of times in that fight, right? So if Altamirano has a game plan of just holding him to the ground, I think that's how he'd win. If it stays on the feet, I think Hernandez has the advantage. Anyways, go ahead.
Ballard is a good fighter, man.
He's not bad at all.
By twice after each other, he got screwed by one.
Anyways, that's his only career loss, so it's not like it's the worst loss to have, right?
No.
All right, let's go to the next fight here. Michael Gilmore against Ramis Brahmaj, and odds for this one. I think I said the odds in the first one. I apologize, I missed it, guys. It's minus 130 Hernandez, plus 110 Altamirano. So again, close odds. This fight, minus 360 Brahmaj, plus 300 Michael Gilmore. So odds are much steeper. What do you think of this fight?
I think this is a fight Ramis should be able to win. You know, I haven't been really impressed by Gilmore, although it's short notice for Ramis Brahmaj, you know. And he didn't look great against Court McGee. You know, Court McGee was really putting it on him, you know. And we know Brahmaj sometimes have some had some cardio issues before, man, in his fights where it's going to 3 rounds. You know, he's an early finisher normally. So, but I think he will be able to finish Gilmore, you know. So, yeah, I'm taking Brahmaj, probably with a submission again, as always, as he finishes. First or second round, yeah.
This one, by the way, Cole said your name's cut off. I think he did it on purpose for some reason. He got his long name. Anyways, you know, for me, I don't know. This is a weird one. I'll be honest, because Brahmaj I thought was pretty good, but man, he got the shit kicked out of him like a month ago against Court McGee. Like, it was a beating, guys. It really was a beating. So that's not a good thing in my opinion to come back that soon from that fight. But you know, if he's convinced he can win this fight, then I can see why he's doing it. Because on paper, he should be able to submit Michael Gilmore. Michael Gilmore's almost all of his losses are by submission. I don't know though. I'm not sold on Brahmaj after that last fight, man. He got his ass kicked. It was by a 40-year-old guy, basically. I mean, that's not good, you know. He's definitely got a nasty submission game in the first round, and we saw it against Sasha Palatnikov. But I will say, Marcel, his striking doesn't look great. If he's on his back, he doesn't look great. I just don't really see a UFC caliber fighter here. But at the same time, I don't know if there's one with Gilmore either. You know, I will say Gilmore lasted a little longer than I thought against Petrosky in that fight, you know, but he still lost at the end of the day. And I'm just not sure if he's UFC caliber either. I think both these guys are fighting for the jobs here. It's a fight that Brahmaj should win. He should win, but I would not lay minus 360 on Ramis Brahmaj after that last fight. So I would just stay away from this one personally. If you're going to bet on it, I would just go with Brahmaj by submission maybe, because I think that's how he wins the fight. Because if he doesn't submit him, Marcel, I think he might lose the fight. I'll be honest with you. Like, if he doesn't finish in the first round, I think there's a chance he could lose. Like I said, I'm staying away from this one. But I think it might be dog or pass, even though I don't think Michael Gilmore's not good. I'm just not sold on Brahmaj being a minus 360 favorite. This seems insane to me. Both guys are fighting for. I agree. I completely agree. Brahmaj in the first round sub. Let me check what that is. I'm going to take a look because I think that's what happens too. But if it doesn't, then he might gas out and lose again. Brahmaj first round sub plus 200. So it's not great odds, but it seems like the most likely outcome though. So don't blame you. Joe thinks Brahmaj finishes him. I mean, the odds are saying that he's also like one of the biggest favorites on DraftKings this week. But Daniel has a good point. Gilmore fighting on weight class, maybe he'll be stronger. Ramis took damage against. I completely agree with that too. He did take a lot of damage. And also, like you said, Gilmore dropping down from middleweight to welterweight. So he might be stronger at this weight class, but I don't know, Marcel. I think his grappling's a big hole. I mean, he's got 4 or 5 submission losses now. It seems like a hole. I'm just saying, I'm not sold on this guy to bet minus 360. I think that's not a good bet. I would say that, guys. I would stay away from this one. Brahmaj by submission is going to be my pick, but I would not bet on this fight at these odds. All right, let's go to the next fight. Alejandro Perez against Jonathan Martinez, the Dragon. The Dragon's minus 235, Marcel. Perez plus 195 for Turbo. What do you think?
I don't know, man. It feels like kind of a weird-ass fight for some reason. I don't know why, Alejandro Perez, last time he won against Johnny Eduardo, but man, Johnny Eduardo, I think dude hasn't, maybe has 2 fights in the last 6 years or something, so it's really not that... I wouldn't say it's not a great win, but it was a good win, but it's not, I don't really feel anything special with it, If you look at Jonathan Martinez, last fight, he was supposed to fight Aaron Phillips, but the last moment he fought Zviat Lazishvili, which is a Georgian, was undefeated guy, was the LFA champion, and he did very well against him, and he beat him, so I was impressed with that. The thing is, man, with Jonathan Martinez, I think he has a good future in the sport, but I'm still also not really sold on him yet. Although his only real loss in the UFC, and I mean his real loss where he got stopped, it was against Davy Grant, right? Because the Andre Ewell fight, I still think he won that fight. So if you look at that, if you look at Alejandro Perez, he actually only gets beaten recently by 2 really good fighters, against Stamen and against Song Yadong, with the stoppage. So yeah, where I'm going with with the little bit older guy in Perez, or going with Martinez. I feel like Perez can win the fight, but I favor Martinez over 3 rounds with a decision.
Yeah, and Andrew's got a comment saying Gilmore's already here because he stepped on tough. I know, it's true. He quit his job. I can't remember what he was doing, but it was like a regular job to be on tough. They gave him the 1 fight. Now he's got a 2nd fight. Let's be honest, he's probably making $10,000. So I mean, it's not like it's an issue having the guy on the roster, really. But I'm just saying, I don't think he's UFC caliber. As far as this fight goes, so you're picking Martinez in, Marcel?
Yeah, decision.
Yeah, by decision. Yeah, for me, I think it's competitive. Honestly, I think that the odds are minus 235. I mean, it seems a little long to me. I feel like this fight's a little closer than that, but at the same time, Martinez, I look at that last fight, Perez, man, I bet on him, right, in that fight. He was getting lit up with those low kicks, man. It was not good. I was like, damn, Martinez is not really a kicker, more of a puncher, but he's definitely a better striker in this fight. But his ground game it's not amazing. If Perez gets him down to the ground, he could submit him, I think. I just don't know if he's going to get him down. Martinez, younger guy, he's got a 5'8" reach advantage, he's taller. I think he's got a lot of physical advantage in this fight, so I think he should win this one. But like I said, Perez, he's kind of an underrated guy, Marcel. He's been around the UFC for a while. He's got a great record, too, in the UFC. It's 8-3-1. I mean, that's a great record. I think he's an underrated fighter, honestly. I've bet on him a lot, actually, during his career, guys. I've made decent money on this guy. I've been pretty good at picking his fights. I don't think this is one he wins, but, it wouldn't completely shock me either. I'll say that, because I think this guy's pretty good, Marcel. He's a good, underrated fighter, and he gets this fight down, he can win. So we'll see what happens. Let me get these comments, guys. Martinez by decision. That's kind of what I'm thinking too. Perez looks frail in the last one. Martinez points fight to victory. Yeah, that's what I think too. I don't like Perez. I agree with you guys. I mean, I thought he looked poor in the feet. But again, if he gets into the ground, it's MMA, right? It's not just striking. So if he gets into the ground, he's got a chance. But on the feet, I think he has that disadvantage. Although Martinez, Marcel, after that fight with Davy Grant, I still question the chin a little bit. I'll be honest with you, man. He got dropped in that fight hard, and it worries me a little bit. But he's just not, this is not the kind of guy who's going to knock him out, I don't think Perez is a power puncher. He's more of a guy that he's a mixed martial artist. He really is. He can mix it up. And I think he's a good fighter. I just don't know if he wins this fight. But I think he's underrated. He's a solid fighter. I wouldn't completely count him out here. All right, let's go to Ginyu Fray against Hannah Goldie at women's 115. Odds for this one. Ginyu Fray minus 175, Hannah Goldie plus 155. What do you think about this one, man?
Okay, good for us at this one.
Sure, and I want to get this comment from Marcus, who's a great guy here. Marcus, enjoying the show, very informative. Really appreciate that, man. He's a good dude. We got Jack Attack and me in the chat. What's going on? All right, let's talk about this fight. Yeah, I mean, it's a competitive fight. I think it's really competitive. They match up like it just seems like it's a fight. First off, that's going to decision. That's what I think, and I'll say that right now. I don't think it's like taking a rocket scientist to say that. What are the odds? 2.5. Yeah, minus 300. I mean, so I feel like it goes to decision. Goldie, still not sure what to make of her, Marcel. I mean, she's looked good at times, like her last fight where she got the submission, but she's lost fights she should have won. And Ginyu Fray, again, I don't know, she didn't look very good in her first couple of fights. She's put it together though in the last few fights. Like she's put together some consistency and mixing it up more. And I look at this fight as pretty competitive fight, Marcel. For me, it's just I think Fray is more experienced at this point. She has championship experience. She's fought, I think, better fighters in the UFC. And honestly, I think, Ashley Yoder's not a great fighter, but I think that was a decent win, overall. Like she won 30-27. She won the fight convincingly. And she also beat DePaulo, who looked amazing the other day. So, I wouldn't say amazing, but she looked really good in that fight. That was a great fight. I'm leaning towards Fray by decision, Marcel. I think she can kind of outstrike her, out-grapple her, but it's a close fight. What do you think?
Yeah, man. It's a super difficult fight, honestly, to pick, because the thing is, I think if it comes to strength, I think Hannah Goldie has more strength, If it comes to technicality, I think Ginyu Fray is more technical, So it's a tough one to pick. If you look at their form to their fights in the UFC so far, man, Goldie got the win last time, but she also didn't. Whitmire made a mistake, right, in that fight, and Goldie took advantage of it. Fray did look bad in her last fights. I agree with you there. I'm not convinced. I'm also picking Fray via decision. I don't see a finish here, but I'm not convinced because I think Hannah Goldie is probably stronger. That's what I think. But I think overall technicality, keep it standing. She should be able to win against Goldie. So pick Fray with a decision.
Yeah, me too. So the odds, Fray by decision minus 110. Goldie by decision is plus 250, which I think would be the way she wins. So if you're on the other side, that's the way to go, I think. But I'm going to go with Fray by decision. Joe likes Fray by decision as well. Fray skills with Goldie is hard. Yeah, like the Fray's in a big weight cut. Goalie does. She's a very muscular girl. She's going to be cutting down to 115 again. She's kind of in between weight classes a little bit. She's probably like a 120 pounder kind of thing. All right, let's go to the next fight. I think we broke down this fight like a few months ago, I believe. Terence Mckinney and Ferrazzium. I think we broke it down, but we'll do it again, obviously, because I can't remember what you picked in this fight. This fight is also one of the closest fights on the card, according to the odds. Minus 120, Ferrazzium, plus 100, even money on Terence Mckinney. What do you think about this one, Marcel?
Yeah, this is a difficult one as well. I think the public opinion will go blindly for Terence Mckinney in this one because he has like 5 knockout wins in this last year. Great UFC debut, 7 seconds, short notice, 4 days notice, winning against Matt Frivola. Or is it Frivola or Frivola?
I don't know.
Yeah, well, me neither. I'm also wondering always. So if you look at Ferrazzium, he lost his UFC debut. Then he got the win over Malarkey in the fight. I think Malarkey won, And in his last fight, the majority decision win over Van Ramini. The thing is, Ziam can make it a difficult fight, man, for McKinney. You know what I mean? I feel like McKinney has more power than Ziam, in my opinion. The question is, can McKinney go 3 hard rounds in the UFC if he doesn't get the early knockout? That's the real question, I think, in this fight. And I don't want to go back to the Woodson fight, because I know he got how do you say that? He got gassed in that one and he got finished.
It was at 145 too. We should mention that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't want to go back to that one. But man, I feel like he can stop Ziam. I haven't been highly impressed by Ziam so far. So I would go with McKinney. Second round TKO win for McKinney. I think Ziam is tough, but I'm going with McKinney. But I'm not sure. I wouldn't be surprised if Ziam wins, to be really honest. But I'm going with McKinney.
Yeah, I mean the odds are close. Like it's like I said. Well, there's one fight that's actually closer odds, even surprisingly, but it's about as close as it gets. It's a slight lean towards Ziam. I'm not seeing it. I'll be honest with you. I'm not seeing that. I think McKinney wins this fight. I think he's the better fighter. I haven't been impressed with Ferrazzium, Marcel, in the UFC. I really don't think he's even won a fight yet. Like the match fight he lost, he landed 10 strikes in 15 minutes. That's terrible. The fight with Malarkey, he got taken down 5 times. Somehow, I think he got like on top of him at one point, and the judges were like, "Oh, he got on top. Now he wins the fight." But like he was controlled most of that fight. I'm not really sure he won that fight. And then the Venturmini fight, I thought was 10-8 round in the third round because he got dropped and her. Actually, it's technically not a real knockdown. I guess that's what they're not counting it, but it looked like a 10-8 round. I'm just not impressed by this guy. Whereas, McKinney's destroying dudes. Like he's just starching them. I bet on him against Fvol last year. Remember Marcel? I was like all over him in that fight, and he was a big underdog. I think he was like plus 300. You're not getting it now, but you're still getting even money. You're getting plus money on Terence McKinney, a guy with knockout power, a guy with good athleticism, a guy with good wrestling skills. I like McKinney in this fight. I think he wins. And I think he can knock him out, honestly. I'm not impressed with Ferrazzium at all in the UFC. Like you said, though, if he doesn't get that knockout, maybe Ziam just has the better cardio and last time wins the decision. But I'm counting on an early finish from my boy, what's his name, Terence McKinney, to get the knockout here, Marcel. So that's what I'm looking at. Let me get these comments from you guys. Y'all deserve more likes. Hey, we'll take the likes. We'll take anything, man. Ziam, yeah, it's a tough fight to call. Ziam winning close decision, possibly for sure. And it's definitely possible. Don't understand why everyone thinks Ferris is very good. I mean, I'm not super impressed with him. I kind of agree with this guy. I don't think he's really won a fight. Doesn't mean he won't win this fight though. That doesn't mean that. I'm just saying I haven't been impressed with him. Grant and Matt, yeah, they are pretty good. I feel like we haven't seen enough McKinney. I know what you're saying, but I've scouted him really well before his debut in the UFC. Like I remember last year being like, man, Matt Frevola at minus 350. How is this possible? I have to look at this other guy. And I was impressed, man. I mean, he's definitely good. Like again, the Derek Minner fight, he took him down and then got choked out. Sean Woodson was winning that fight and then he gassed out at 145 and got finished. Other than that, he's pretty much beaten everyone, destroyed them. Most of his wins are coming in the first minute of his fights, Marcel. I'm impressed by this guy. I think he's really good, man.
Can I also say that
knockout decision? Yeah, go ahead.
Can I also say that I think the UFC has done a terrible job at promoting this fight, and I know they put out a clip with him overcoming a drug addiction, right? But
yeah,
barely did any, how do you say that, any promoting for this dude, or for Bahamondes, who's later on the card, one of the best knockouts last year, and if you see that, if you how do you say that, if you match that with the promotion they do for Paddy Pimblett, for Ian Gary, I don't understand that. You got guys like Bahamondes, huge prospect as well, in my opinion. McKinney has all the hype with him. They should be more building that, in my opinion, And you have the guys like we're in Europe where they think like, oh, we have the new Conor McGregor. Now we're going to do extra promoting, Then they're going to promote, you know what I mean? But you have the guys from your own country who are, not Bahamondes, but McKinney, for example, from your own country who's looking good. You barely promote them in fight week, man. I think it's weird. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, I don't know either. Anyways, let me get these comments. McKinney, I think McKinney's wrestling is really good. It's really good. It's solid. So I think I agree with you. And I think he's right. If DM wins, it's going to be a decision point fighting him, I think. Yeah, McKinney and Pimblett, that'd be a good fight. I mean, it's possible that we could see that at some point. Anyways, so you're saying knockout or decision? What was your pick?
Oh, for sure. I'm taking knockout, man. I think I have late first or early second, but you go with first, so I go with second round.
Love it. All right, let's go to the next fight. Josie Nunez against Ramona Pascual. Interesting fight, I guess. I mean, it is a short notice fight for Pascual. Josie Nunez minus 210, Pascual plus 175. You want me to start this one off, Marcel? Because
yeah, for sure.
Let me start this one off. So I gotta be honest with you guys, I'm not too familiar with Ramona Pascual. I had to do the tape study on her. There isn't much on Fight Pass, which is kind of weird because she has had like fights that are like Invicta and stuff. I didn't see it there. But on YouTube you can watch her fight. So I watched the one in Road and I watched a couple other ones. She's not a bad grappler, Marcel. Like she's okay at grappling, but it's just okay grappling. It's just okay. Like, I look at Nunez and she has a skill. Like she has extremely good boxing and really fast hands and huge power, right? And she's fighting a girl who really doesn't excel in anything and just has a decent ground game. I mean, and she's also coming on short notice. I don't really think this girl's UFC caliber, Marcel. I'll be honest with you. I wasn't too impressed with what I saw. And I think that Nunes should be able to knock her out. I know this girl's really short. She's going to be 5 inches shorter again, but Malecki was like, I think 10 inches taller. She knocked her out. I think she can catch. Maybe it's a good thing. Maybe she could just catch her with the big overhand right again. I like Nunes in this fight, Marcel. I think she can knock her out. I'm not too impressed by Pascual. I'm going to go with Josiane Nunes by knockout, Marcel. What do you think, man? I think very good chance in the first round, too, again. What do you think?
You bet your ass, man, that when I went against Nunes against Malecki last time, I'm not going against Nunes again, because last time I said, yeah, Malecki is much bigger, and it's hard probably for her to knock her out. She completely cleaned her clock, She knocked her out pretty badly. And it's at 145 as well, this fight, because it's on short notice. And the UFC should change that, man. They have still at 135 listed. So, yeah, I would take Nunes. I think I was impressed what I saw in her debut. So I'm Pascual, short notice fight. Yeah, I think Nunes wins, and I'm going with the first round knockout.
And it's short notice too. This girl's taking on 1 week's notice, right? Like 2 weeks notice. It's just I think I know this girl's small. I'm surprised she's at 145. She's 5'2", but the power she packs is pretty nice, Marcel. Anyways, let me get these comments, guys. This guy Scott likes Nunes and Tsarukyan. We'll talk about that fight in a few minutes. Ramona has massive size advantage and different than Bea. She's not a twig. I think she uses a clinch. Maybe she does have decent knees for the clinch. That makes sense. Never mind. That's right.
Yeah.
They're on Fight Network now. That's why it's not there. Thanks, man. Used by violence. I think so. Pascual's biggest strength is her ability to public speaking, as showcased on her TED Talk on YouTube. I didn't see that, but I'll check it out. Yeah, I think she's going to knock her out, man.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, Glenn, there's a lot of inexperienced girls and guys in this card. Go ahead.
JHK, John Yonko did the interview with Ramona Pascual.
Yes, he did. He did do a
pretty fun interview. Yeah,
John's great. I will say another thing I don't like about her is the lack of good opposition. 2-0, 0-0, 4-5, 0-0, 0-0, 0-2. Like she's beaten scrubs. Nunes. I know she hasn't beaten amazing competition, but Bea Malecki did have a winning record in the UFC. And she also, her only loss is to Kyla Santos, Marcel, which is not a bad loss, obviously.
I mean, she ain't the first one, and she won't be the last one, man.
Yeah, she's fought better competition, I think. Yeah. Anyways, I like her here, man. I think she knocks her out. So Josiane Nunes by TKO, and that's what Marcel likes. That's even money. I just checked. All right, last prelim here, which I think should have been on the main card, but it's okay.
For sure.
Ignacio Bahamondes, a guy I love, against Rong Zhu. Should be a good fight. I think it's going to be a fun fight for as long as it lasts. Odds right now, Ignacio Bahamondes minus 225, Rong Zhu plus 185. What do you think?
Dude, like I said, man, how can you not promote a guy like Bahamondes, man? I know he's the feature prelim, so they will say, yeah, you got the highlight of the prelim. Yeah, suck that. It's just, I don't get that. It's all for you guys on ESPN Plus, the prelims on the main card. So what's the great spot on the Fight Pass or on the early prelims, man? That's just complete garbage. You know what I mean? It's just like, it doesn't mean anything. Back in the day when you had televised prelims, what you have for a pay-per-view, for example, then it makes sense, but at a fight night, so like people are telling me like, it's a feature prelim. Who gives a fuck, dude? I mean, it doesn't make sense on a fight night. Definitely not for North America. But, yeah, Bahamondes, I think he has looked great, man. Contender Series, great win. After that, he lost to McDessie in the fight. I think could have gone his way as well, And the Roosevelt Roberts fight, man, he was amazing in that fight. Was winning that fight 30-27, and then 7 seconds before the end of the round, he knocks him out with a spinning wheel kick. Mm-hmm. Absolutely amazing. So yeah, now he's fighting Rong Zhu. I think Rong Zhu really disappointed me in his debut, man, and against Kazula Vargas. And pretty much because I went 11-1 on that card, and the week before I went 12-0. So I could have been two perfect cards back to back, but Rong Zhu fucked me over. So, but in this last fight, he looked good against Brandon Jenkins. It was a short notice fight for Brandon Jenkins, but he looked good. Still think he is one of the better guys that they got from the Performance Institute from Shanghai. He's a good fighter, I think. But Bahamondes, I expect Bahamondes to be a little bit of a step higher for him, and too high at this moment. To be honest, Bahamondes is also a better fighter than Vargas, where he made his debut against.
Mm-hmm.
And man, but I think Bahamondes finishes this fight. I'm going with a TKO win in the second round for Ignacio Bahamondes.
Yeah, I loved him in the last fight. I got him at plus money. That was crazy. He was the underdog against Roosevelt Roberts. I mean, that's crazy. That guy's not in the UFC anymore.
Yeah.
I've liked this guy ever since Tom Contender 2 years ago, where he had that crazy front kick knockout. Like, front kick is one of my favorite techniques, Marcelo. Like, I really do get excited, to say the least, when I see a front kick knockout. I'm like freaking out, man. So it's nice to see. I mean, the guy is definitely talented. There's no doubt about it. The striking is elite, I would say, as far as offensive goes. Now, he does get hit a lot, though, which is a worry when he fights someone like who's a good striker like John McDessie, for instance. That's a worry. But I will say he's a young, improving fighter. And one thing that I looked at in this fight, because Ron looked good in his last fight, man. He looked really good in that fight against Brandon Jenkins, right? Short notice guy, but still, he looked good. And the takedowns were something that were dominant, 6 takedowns. Even against Vargas in the loss, he got 3. So I'm like, shit, like, I got to look at the takedown defense. And he stopped 12 takedowns against Roosevelt Roberts. I know Roberts is an amazing wrestler, but that does show it to me that the guy's improving his takedown defense. And watching that fight again, I mean, you saw the way he was defending the takedowns. It was really impressive. Because I think if Ron wins, he's going to have to take him down, hold him down, basically. And I think there's an outside chance of that happening. But if it doesn't, it stays on the feet. I have no doubt Ignacio Bahamondes wins, Marcel. It's just, does he win by knockout or decision? So that's kind of what I'm looking at here. Ignacio Bahamondes by knockout or decision. Let's take a look. Knockout plus 200, or inside the distance is plus 200, and then decision is plus 150. What are you leaning? Knockout? You're saying knockout?
Yeah, second round TKO.
Yeah, I mean, most of his wins are by knockout. Let me check wrong. How many losses he's been knocked out? He's never been knocked out. I think he's got a good chin though, Marcel. From what I've seen, right? So
I don't think he gets knocked out. I think he gets ground and pounded.
Yeah, that could happen too. We never talk about that. I mean, that's definitely an option. I think Bahamondes wins. I do kind of feel like it's 50-50 between a decision and a knockout, just because that guy's tough, but I think he wins the fight. Let me get these comments. Bahamondes, decision. Yeah. Drew's going to have to clinch against I agree, but I don't even know if he's going to be able to do it. Yeah, I know. That's what I noticed too. He's never been knocked out. I agree with you. He is a good chin. Yeah, that whole Valley Flow or whatever is a good team. Yeah, Bahamondes should win, man. I remember when I scouted him last year. He lost the fight against John McDessie, but I scouted him like before the fight, and I mean, I know he was training like his wrestling with even Khabib at one point. So the guy's definitely improving that aspect of his game. If he keeps the fight standing, he wins. No doubt in my mind. And you're right, Marcel. He's a much better fighter than Crisula Vargas. I hate to play the MMA math game, but I mean,
yeah, true.
He should win. Like, he really should. He's a good young prospect, and he has great striking. Now, speaking of great striking, let's get to the main card, Marcel. Armin Petrosian against Greg Rodriguez. I think this fight is going to be sick. I love this fight. The first fight in the main card, Marcel. It's going to be a really good fight for as long as it lasts. Let's go to the odds here. Minus 175, Greg Rodriguez. Plus 150 on Armin Petrosian. Let me start this one off too, Marcel. I'll start this one off. I'll give you your thoughts on my thoughts on this fight. RoboCop has definitely been impressive. I mean, there's no doubt about it. The guy looked phenomenal in his last fight against Jungwon Park. He looked great. Get the knockout there. Look good against Dusko. He did get knocked out by Williams like Contender Series, but since then he's looked good, and he also had that knockout in Hall of Fame. And the guy's got power. He's a big dude. He's strong. But Marcel, I am seeing a guy with a serious chin issue, and I'm seeing a guy who keeps his chin up in the air in most of his fights. And I look at Armin Petrosian, watching that fight back from Contender Series. I mean, this guy, his striking is so good. It's so good. It's some of the best I've seen in the UFC. Go watch his fights on YouTube. There's one fight, I think it was his last fight in Fight Nights before he came to the UFC, before he went to Contender, Marcel. He had this nasty front kick to the body on this one, dude. It was like such a nasty kick. Like, the guy, he's short, compact with his strikes, and he's huge power. And also, again, he's dropping down from 205, Marcel, this fight to 185, where I think he's going to be at home. I think this is a good weight class for this guy. I understand that in this fight, he's got a shorter reach and everything, but I don't think it matters. I just think he's that much of a better striker. And I think he's so technical, Marcel. I think he knocks Greg Rodriguez out, guys. So I love the underdog in this fight. This is one that just like Jim Miller last week, this is a no-brainer. Armin Petrosian by knockout is plus 200. I like that, but I just take him straight up plus 150 because I think he wins this fight, and I love getting him at underdog odds. Rodriguez, again, good fighter. but I think Armin matches up really well against him. What do you think, man?
Yeah, it's the Brazilian Obama against not Giorgio Petrosian's brother. Yeah, I kind of feel the same way, but does Gregory Rodriguez shoot for takedowns in this one? Because if he shoots for takedowns and he gets him to the ground, I think Rodriguez can win the fight. But does he do it? And does he get the chance to do it? Difficult. I've been going back and forth in this one. I wasn't sure about what I thought. But yeah, man, if you look at the striking, I kind of agree with you that Rodriguez keeps his chin open, Not a good idea with Petrosian. I also feel, I think if it goes longer, then if it goes over 1.5, I'm picking Rodriguez, but if not, and I don't think it will be, I'm picking Petrosian. So I'm going with a KO for our Armin Petrosian as well.
Yeah, no, I really like him in this spot as an underdog. He's definitely the dog of the week for me. It's a consensus dog right now from us. We also picked Mckinney as a consensus dog. We actually have 2 consensus dogs again, Marcel. Last week we had on one of the 2. So hopefully we get both of them this week. Let me get these comments. Hype says Armin's moving down to 185. Yeah, he is. I think it's a good move for him. I don't think he was a big 205er at all, personally. Yeah, I think he knocks him out too. Hey, what's up, Tristan? I mean, Tristan, honestly, to me, yeah, he did get taken down a little bit in the Fight and Contender, but he got up every single time. And again, I saw his fight, a couple of the Fight Night fights, gets taken down, but he works to get back up. And because he's working so hard, his other opponent's getting tired every time. They're just getting tired, exhausted, working to get this guy to the ground. They can't get him down. I think the takedown defense is good enough to keep it on the feet. So I feel really convinced he wins this fight. Like, I'm very convinced that Armin wins. So, Greedy, I don't think. Let's see here. I think, yeah, he was knocked out. That's true. He did get knocked out, but so did Rodriguez. He got knocked out 2 years ago, right? Doesn't mean these guys are bad. Anyone can get knocked out in this sport, man. It's not like these guys are bad strikers or bad fighters because they get clipped. I know he got knocked out in that fight. It's not like it's a good sign by any means, but I still think he's the better striker, and I think he'll have the better chin. So that's what I'm thinking here. This guy's saying maybe a live bet. It could be. It definitely could be. All right, so let's go to the next fight here. We got the other Armin Tsarukyan against Joel Alvarez. This is a great fight. Hopefully at 155, but I mean, I feel like this guy's going to miss weight again, Marcel. I think he's going to miss weight again, Joel Alvarez. I'm going to call it right now, guys. I feel really convinced he misses weight. This guy's so big. How does he even make 155? He's 6'3".
He doesn't.
Yeah, he doesn't. 6'3" and 77-inch reach. I mean, I'm 6'3" and I have a 78-inch reach. Okay, so this guy's like my size, but I'm 100 pounds more than him, basically. Like, it doesn't make sense. This guy's not going to make the weight. I don't think so. Anyways, the odds for the fight: -220 Armin, +180 Joel Alvarez. So, what do you think about this catchweight fight, Marcel?
It's a great matchup, but I feel like Armin is going to play it safe and going to wrestle him probably, I know Alvarez is good on the ground, but we saw against Damir Ismagulov, he got dominated, man, in his debut, And Armin even made the fight with Makachev competitive, I know Makachev had the better grappling exchanges, but still he made it competitive, So if Armin goes back to his ways and he's going to wrestle with Alvarez, I even think even if he misses weight, I'm picking Tsarukyan here to win. So I'm taking Tsarukyan with a decision win. Our fight should have been a co-main event, to be honest.
Yeah, this is a great fight. I mean, there's no doubt about it. These guys are beasts. Tristan's asking about the line movement. Let me take a look at it right now. So I know that people have pretty strong opinions about this fight. I think we can say that. So it opened at -175, went down to like -375, and now it's back to -225. So it's pretty steady on Armin, but it ballooned up there for a while. I think Armin's great. I'll say that. Like, the guy's phenomenal. I think he's been super impressive in the UFC, and I don't think I can pick against him here, but I will say that Alvarez matches up decently well, honestly. Marcel, physically, 6'3" to 5'7". You have a guy who's 8 inches taller. That's always going to be an advantage, and he has a 5-inch reach advantage as well. There's a reason though. I mean, this guy's a welterweight. He's not a lightweight. He's kind of cheating, in my opinion, a little bit, guys. Like, he's not really a 155-pound fighter. This guy can't make this weight class, so he's kind of a bully in this weight class. I don't really like guys like this that force themselves down a weight class, and because they're fucking over other guys' careers too. really when you're doing this consistently, it's not like it was a one-time thing. He's missed back-to-back. I'm surprised he's getting another fight in this division. He better make the weight. If he makes the weight and wins this fight, I mean, that, if Joel Alvarez goes in there and finishes Armin, that's huge for him. Makes 155. That like potentially like one fight away from a title shot. I think it's possible, Marcel. I really do think he can win this fight. I think I still have to go with Armin because, again, like you said, the wrestling is just really dominant. I look at that Frivola fight, 10 takedowns. He made it look so easy. It was just so easy. So I'm kind of thinking that, but Alvarez matches up well. He's a damn good submission artist, and his striking's improved too. That last fight was nasty. So honestly, Marcel, I kind of think it's dog or pass, but I'm leaning slightly towards Armin for just a straight up pick. I just think that Alvarez is definitely a live dog here. That's what I would say. So any thoughts?
I agree with you on that, man. I think I think Alvarez is definitely a live dog, but yeah, I mean it's the one or the other way, right? And I think Armin can out wrestle him. That's what I think.
Yeah.
So, but I wouldn't be surprised if Alvarez wins, no doubt.
Yeah. I mean, me and you feel the same way. We got Glenn. He says he hope he gets destroyed because of the weight miss. I can't disagree with what you're saying, Glenn, because I hate guys that miss weight multiple times in a row. Step in knees, yeah, for sure. Confident Tsarukyan. Yeah, he's great. It's just, again, you always got to be careful because every matchup's different. And I think Joel matches up decently well. Marcel, I really do. So I would be careful with this because honestly, I'm kind of hearing the same thing that we said about the Thiago Moises fight. People were saying, like, oh, he's just going to wrestle him in an easy fight. It wasn't an easy fight for Thiago. It would turn to be a horrible night for him. All right, let's go to the next fight. Ji-Yeon Kim against Priscilla Cachoeira. This fight, Marcel, I mean, I'm not really sure about the card placement here, honestly. I don't think so. It's not like I think Kim, she's pretty exciting. She had a good fight tonight, but Priscilla Cachoeira should have been cut after her last fight. She should not be fighting on the main card. It's almost like she got a promotion after being a dirty cheater in her last fight. Minus 165 Ji-Yeon Kim, plus 145 Priscilla Cachoeira. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm going to be quick with this one. I think Priscilla or Ji-Yeon Kim is all around a better fighter. I know Cachoeira has power, but man, I'm thinking Kim decision shouldn't be on the main card.
Dude, I mean, like your breakdown is pretty much how I see the fight too. I mean, it was a short one, but it's kind of a short and sweet one. Kim by decision seems like to me like the most likely outcome here. I just think she's going to be, I'm not saying I think, it's a fact. She's 7-inch reach advantage. That's huge in this fight because I think it's going to take place in the feet, and she's kind of outpoints her. I will say she's super hittable though, Marcel. No doubt about it. Young Kim, she's very hittable. So it's concerning. I just think Cachoeira, I mean, she does have some power, but her striking is not great. I mean, just overall, she's not a great fighter. And I still, again, I don't understand how she gets a promotion from the prelims to a main card after being a cheater in her last fight. It's kind of weird.
And honestly, she also got, listen, man, I love Mike Beltran. I think he's a great ref, but he helped her in the Mazzani fight.
That was a bad stand-up, I thought, in that fight, right? Like I thought it was. I understand she probably would have lost the third round anyways. To be honest with Marcel, Mazzani was exhausted, but
she was on top, and he
helped
pretty
she
much
was kind of working. I thought too. Like,
it
wasn't just lay and pray, but anyways, it doesn't matter. Comments. Let's see what people say. Yeah, I just Raw Torques Alvarez. Randy, that's hilarious. He's got the Trailer Park Boys thing as his picture. Yeah, I don't know why it's on the main card, but I think Kim wins the decision here. All right, let's go to the next fight here, Marcel. Co-main event. Not really sure this is co-main event either, but it honestly should be Armin Tsarukyan, I think. But anyways, we got Misha Cirkunov against Wellington Turman, and this is the closest fight in the card according to the odds. Minus 115 Misha Cirkunov, minus 105 Wellington Turman. What do you think about this one, man? Kind of a weird fight. What do you think?
Yeah, man, it's like Misha has a second fight at middleweight, right? Mm-hmm. He lost the last fight, split decision. Jotko should have been unanimous, to be really honest.
Who did you think won that fight?
Jotko, clearly, to be honest.
I thought so too, but I will say that the numbers point to 5 takedowns for Misha in that fight. And if you get a hard on for takedowns, I could see why you'd score for him. But for me, it's like I thought Jotko did a little bit more. I thought he won too. Anyways, go ahead. So I just wanted to hear your thoughts on that. But
Turman. Yeah, let's be really honest. He hasn't impressed me so far in the UFC at all. His best win was against Marcus Perez. The Sam Alvey he won even with 2-point deduction last time. For that, got 2 times knocked out by Andrew. He got knocked out by Andrew Sanchez, and he got knocked out by Bruno Silva. After he was
no shame in that one.
Winning.
There's no shame in that one. That guy's a beast.
He was doing pretty well in that fight, and then he got knocked out. So no disrespect in that one. True. Thing is, if I look at both guys, Turman doesn't bring anything special to the table, in my opinion. And Cirkunov also not, but Cirkunov has that weird ass submission he can pull off against anybody. So I'm taking Cirkunov first round submission. Maybe another Peruvian necktie. Who knows? But I'm taking Cirkunov.
I do find it interesting that they matched up Wellington with grapplers back to back. Because remember, he was supposed to fight Rodolfo Vieira. I think it was last month.
What's supposed to be in January, the first pay-per-view.
Yeah, right. 270, and that fight didn't happen, so they rebooked him against another grappler, Misha.
By the way, Adam.
Go ahead. Yep.
I gotta say one more thing.
Of course.
It really pisses me off all the time to talk about Wellington Turman because I really crave for beef Wellington now.
I know. That's so funny. There used to be this baseball player named Wellington Castillo, and his nickname was Beef. So yeah. That's also your nickname, Marcel. Beef.
Beef.
I think Wellington could win, like just because Misha's chin is so sketchy. Marcel, it's really just not great. But the guy is definitely a good grappler. He's gonna have a big size advantage, 3 inches height, 5 inches reach. He's a big guy. I mean, I'm surprised he's able to make 185. Like he's a tank. I just worry a lot about the chin still. I mean, I know Jocko wasn't able to knock him out, but Jocko is not a power puncher. Wellington's not really either, but it's definitely possible to clip on the chin and put him out. I'm leaning towards Misha, but I just have a hard time really have confidence in him right now. What are you gonna say?
I thought for a moment you were going to pick against the Canadian. I was picking the Canadian. I was like, okay, but
no, I like Misha. Actually, I've watched him for a long time, Marcel. I'm going to show you something crazy. Where is this? Misha Cirkunov. I'll show you this pull up quickly. I saw him fight in 2011. I saw this is the first fight. This is the first card ever in Ontario. I'll show you guys this. Take blast from the past, guys. I'll do this quickly. This is the first card ever took place in Ontario, Canada. I was at this card. Knockout the entertaining. Actually had some guys that ended up in the UFC. Jordan Meehan beat Josh Berkman. This is 2011. So Jason Young was in the UFC. I don't know if you remember him, Marcel, British guy, shotgun. He was pretty good. Jason Sago ended up in the UFC, and then Misha Cirkunov. So all these guys ended up in the UFC, which is crazy because it was just some small card. And at that point, I mean, I was like only a few years into watching the sport, and it was so new in Ontario. This is kind of cool. Like I've been following the guy's whole career. Go ahead.
No, I was watching the card. I saw somebody, but maybe I missed saw. So
no worries. Let me just get these comments. He Cachoeira. Brazil will cheat to win. I thought Jocko won that one too. It was close though. Weird Misha's that one. I don't know how he makes it. It's pretty impressive. I'm with Glenn too. I mean, he doesn't go the distance very often. I don't think this fight goes. I'm surprised that last one did. Against Jocko though, he doesn't have much power. This guy says, "My name is Beef. You can call me Marcel." Yeah, that's it. Fatal the Canadians over 170. I mean, it's possible Turman can win. I'm not going to just completely ignore Turman. I mean, he's not good, but I don't think he's terrible. Marcel, it's just it doesn't bring anything to the table that's special, like you said. I think you made a good point. Like, there's nothing special about this guy. He might outpoint you, but that's it. Like, he doesn't bring anything to the table. All right, let's go to the main event. Islam Makachev against Bobby Green, and the odds are quite hefty for this one. We'll say that -900 Islam Makachev, +550 Bobby Green. Give me your thoughts on this fight, Marcel. It's obviously short notice. It's a catchweight fight, 160 pounds. What is that?
No, I'm trying to get more light. So yeah, it's a fun one. I think I have much respect for Bobby Green to taking the fight on short notice. He has to cut a lot of weight as well. I saw an interview with Hawani yesterday. Yeah, what can you say? He had a great fight against Huck Perez, 2 weeks ago. Looked great in that fight. Very technical win. If you look at Makachev, 9-fight win streak. Hasn't lost since that KO against Adriano Martins, right? So three submission wins in his last 3, finishing Dober, Thiago Moises, and finishing Dan Hooker in the first round. I mean, I think Green can give him a run for his money, no doubt. But I think Makachev will come out victorious. I honestly don't think he's going to finish Bobby Green for some reason, man. I think Bobby Green is super gritty, and I think Bobby Green is not someone who's giving him a chance to submit him in the first round or whatever, I think the last time Bobby Green got submitted is in 2008 as well. It's a long time ago.
Yep.
I think Makachev probably I don't know if this is true, but I expect Makachev to get the promise from the UFC if he wins this fight. He fights for the title, So I don't think he's going to risk anything, And I don't think I think Bobby Green is going to fight a hard fight with him. 25 minutes, Islam Makhachev, unanimous decision win.
I will say this, I'm looking at the odds right now. Islam by decision is plus 300. By inside the distance is minus 200. Okay. So if you like him by decision, which Marcel does, you're getting plus 300 on a guy who should win the fight. You just have to pick the method right. I mean, I think that's not a bad bet. There's value there for sure, because for me, I have to go with Islam in this fight. Although I'd love to see Bobby Green win. It'd be fucking awesome to see this guy win. I love this dude. Loved it for years. I just don't think it's a good fight for him. Honestly, I think, Makachev against anyone's a bad fight. And, I just look at the wrestling and the cardio, Marcel. I just think it's going to be too much. It's going to be nonstop for 25 minutes. And you're right. Bobby's tough. He's really tough. Hasn't been submitted in 13 years, I think. He's hard to even knock out. He's just a very tough dude. But he's probably going to be on the ground for like 25 minutes. At least probably 20 minutes in this fight of the 25 minutes. Like, he's going to have to work for those to stop the takedown. And what's on the ground? I mean, Islam's really just been running through guys like a hot knife through butter lately, guys, like making it look easy, like against Dan Hooker. I will say, I think Dan Hooker kind of just gave up a little bit in that fight, Marcel. I don't really think he fought that hard in that fight. I think he just wanted to get his paycheck, and I don't blame the guy at all. But, Moises, he had to work for it, but he got the finish. Dober had to work for it, got the finish. But the fact he's finishing these guys, that's next level. So I'm leaning towards a finish more so. I'll be honest with you, Marcel. I am leaning towards a finish just because of the short notice too. I don't think that helps Bobby going 5 rounds, but Bobby's got good cardio too. So, I mean, in general. So it'd be an interesting fight for as long as it lasts, but I'm thinking Makachev eventually 4th round, probably submission, like just his last couple fights. I'm thinking he submits him. That's what I'm thinking, like an arm triangle or maybe a rear naked. Go ahead.
I mean, it pretty much says everything that you're going with a 4th round. That says a lot because he finished Dan Hooker in the 1st round. He finished Drew Dober in the 2nd or 3rd round.
Third round for Dober.
Moises was 4th, I think.
Yeah.
So it says a lot, man. Bobby Green. I mean, we weren't talking about Bobby Green like this like 1 or 2 years ago. We still know he was tough, but we weren't talking like this about him. So
I'm just happy for this guy. I mean,
for
honestly,
me as well.
Yeah. I'm happy for him, and I think it's a good opportunity for him. If he wins this fight, this is huge for his career. I mean, he wins this fight, he can. If he wins this, can he demand a title shot?
I think he should. Because why not? I mean, if he beats Makachev, who I honestly think might be the best or the second best guy in the division right now. Yeah, why not? And Bobby, if he wins this one, his height will be huge.
Let's take the other look, because I think most of us are going to pick Islam. But if Bobby won, would it be by knockout? It would be by knockout, right?
That's possible, yeah. But
that's
the thing
plus
is,
1,000. So
yeah, but the thing is, I don't see him also not. If Bobby wins, maybe a decision if he can keep it standing, but he won't keep it standing.
Decision I don't think plus 1450. And
yeah,
I agree completely. Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, I went out for dinner with my friend last night, and that was the question. I'm like, if he keeps it standing, he can beat him because he's got the better striking. My buddy's like, dude, he's fighting Armin. He's fighting Islam. He's just gonna take him down and hold him, man. And he's got good cardio. And I'm like, you're right. He's not gonna win. So look at these comments, guys. Ton of comments here. Oops, my bad. It's talking there. All right, Marcus. Even though Dariush will give Islam more competitive fight, are you excited to see Bobby versus Islam? I think Dariush was honestly. I think he's. You're right, he matches up a little better because of the grappling. I think I was a little more excited for that fight. You, to be honest,
I'm actually more excited for this.
There you go. So it worked out good for myself. I think they're both good fights, though.
It's not fair because it's number 3 against number 4. But I feel like if I pick Dariush against Makachev, I would be more convinced in picking Makachev by finish, probably. Although Dariush's ground game is probably better than Bobby Green's. But hey, that's just a feeling.
Tristan, thoughts on Green saying everyone else is scared for not taking the fight? I mean, I don't think he's wrong. Guys don't want to fight Islam. They don't want to lose their ranking and stuff. But he's not ranked. That's why he has nothing to lose here. Green is on the power thread here. He has power, but I don't know if it's enough to catch Islam. I'm with Marcel. Islam decision. Yeah, it's possible. I mean, again, you're getting plus 300 on that one, guys. Yeah, Bobby's never been 5. Hey, Alex, what's up? You got Islam at plus 100 by submission. I think that's what I'm looking at, too. Green hasn't beat anyone top 10 caliber for years. I mean, he almost beat Rafael Fiziev, and Rafael is great. So I think that was a good showing by him. But you're right. I mean, it's not like he's beating elite guys. But, the 2 losses he has to Fiziev and Moises were like super close losses. He could be on like a 9-fight win streak or something right now, or 7 fights, something like that. Like, Those fights were really close decisions, guys. I thought so. Over 2.5 rounds is plus 100. I mean, that's not bad. I think it does go a little bit later. Maybe that's the way it goes, But again, I think he gets out there eventually. Where's Gillespie? I have no idea, man. I mean, the guy just doesn't fight that often. It's really
fishing.
Weird.
I said it yesterday. Fishing.
Where do you think Bobby Green's star power go if he upsets Islam? If he upsets him, Marcus, I mean, he gets a title shot. So I think, and I think he's just a guy that UFC should be promoting more. Maybe he doesn't get a title shot, but maybe he gets a guy like Conor McGregor. He said he wants that fight. Conor's going to come back this summer. Maybe that's the kind of fight. I actually kind of feel like Bobby, knowing Bobby, he'd rather have a red panty night than he'd rather have the belt, I think. I really do think he's one of those guys, Marcel, that he's a prize fighter. He's fighting for money, and there's nothing wrong with that. No. And I hope that he gets the bag. I hope he secures the bag because he's a good dude, and he's been grinding for a long time, and I really like the guy. I just think this is not a good fight for him. So that's my thoughts on this fight, Marcel. Overall, I mean, it should be a good card. We did have a few picks that we disagreed on, Marcel, but we had a lot of agreements, and Petrosian and McKinney were two underdogs we both liked, consensus dogs again. So, right? I think. And then you also took Altamirano, which I think could win. And I think that was the only disagreement, I believe. Maybe there was one other fight, but I think we agreed on most of the other ones. Although some of them are iffy as heck. Like Misha's chin. Does it hold up? I don't know. And made unfairly athletes, boxing top 5 don't fight on 2 weeks' notice. I know. Gillespie seems that. And what's up, John? Gillespie seems that go game passed over because you only fight up. Gamrot called him up months ago. You crickets. I know it sucks. I like Gamrot a lot too. All right, let's do. I think that's it for UFC, guys. Anything else you want to say, Marcel? And we'll do Bellator quickly. But anything else you want to say about UFC?
No, that's it. By the way, I like that guy, Big Marcel 24. He says, "I'm with Marcel." I think that's a great comment.
Is that not you? That's someone else?
Yeah, that's me. That's me.
Okay. MMA locker room, what's going on, man? I hope everything's well. You did miss the breakdowns. Just go back and you can rewind it, watch them. We'll do Bellator quickly, Marcel. Main event of the evening, Gager and Musasi against Austin Vanderford. Odds for this fight, minus 245, Gager, plus 185, Austin. I'll say it right now. The UFC made a mistake not getting Austin Vanderford. I believe he is a good fighter. I think he should have been signed. But I don't like this fight for him at all. I think Gager Musasi finishes him. I think he's going to take his O from him. Gager Musasi by stoppage. Probably knockout, maybe submission, but I think he finishes him. Marcel, what do you think?
I think he will probably get taken down early in the fight, like always, because that's the only thing with Gegard all the time. He gets taken down early. And as long as the fight goes, Gegard probably finished the fight 4th round TKO. So, yeah.
I think so, too. I think he finishes him, too, guys. So, Gager Musasi is a good parlay piece. Fight doesn't go distance is minus 110. There's no other props there, but that's what I think happens. And then the other fight on this card that's, pretty important fight, Leah McCourt against Sinead Kavanagh. Sinead minus 140, Leah McCourt plus 110. I like the underdog in this fight, Marcel. I'm going to go with Leah McCourt. I think she can win this fight. I'm not impressed by Sinead Kavanagh at all. She's coming off a brutal knockout loss. She just, to me, is not that good of a fighter. And, I think McCourt is not bad. I think she's underrated for some reason. Like, I'm surprised that the lines are always pretty decent on her. She has a win over Manon Fiorot. I mean, that's a great win on resume, right? I think she can outstrike her win decision. What do you think, man?
I got to be honest, man. I mean, I really like Leah McCourt. I think she wins as well. But the fight against Manon Fiorot, I don't think she won that fight. I was live there in Cage Warriors.
Close. So, you were at that one? You were at that fight?
I was at Cage Warriors in Belgium. I actually have a fun story, if I can tell.
Yeah,
I don't know if I ever told you. So she had an interview, I think with Jim Edwards back then. It was backstage, the press room. And I asked her, can I make a picture of you for my website, MMA DNA back then? She's like, yeah, for sure. Can you do it after the interview from Jim? I said, yeah, for sure. So I waited. So Jim's done with the interview and she's walking away. I was like, damn it, So I went after her. I was like, can we do the picture? She's like, oh yeah, I'm so sorry. I'm coming back. She's so from what outlet you are? I said, MMA DNA. Okay, cool. So she stands there. I make the picture. I said, thank you. Okay, cool. Thank you. So she walks away. I look at the thing. It didn't click. So
that
I
happens,
felt so stupid. I felt so stupid. And I told it to Mike Morgan on another podcast. And Mike Morgan knows Leah McCourt. So he cut out that video and he showed it to Leah McCourt. And Leah McCourt was laughing. And she wasn't bad. She wasn't annoyed by it at all. But I thought it was funny that Mike Morgan showed it to her. So I feel bad about it, but it was a funny story, I think.
Yeah. Let me get these comments first. That's funny, Marcel. By the way, anything else you want to talk about that Bellator card? I mean, there's like Brett Johns is fighting some other fighters like Baby Fader, but nothing else that really stands out to me. Before we move on, anything else you want to talk about that?
Yeah, I think you got Jornel Lugo also on that card, who is a
Yes.
good prospect, and he's fighting Brian Moore. That should be a good fight. And also Brett Johns is fighting against Kurshat Kakharov, I think.
Yeah.
That guy is undefeated, but Brett should win. Let's be honest, Brett should win. Yeah.
And I was just gonna say that the Cage Warriors card you went to, like a bunch of fighters end up in the UFC: Furo, McKenna, Herbert, and Taporia. So definitely, you never know with these regional events, guys. Like I was showing them with Misha earlier. Like half those guys end up in the UFC, which is crazy. Also, Andrew's got a question about Rising Odds. Yes, Andrew. To answer your question, FightOdds.io is another website. If Best Fight Odds doesn't have it, FightOdds.io is a pretty good website that should have the odds. I'm looking at it right now. It should have the odds.
Tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow. Let's do PFL really quickly too. PFL Challenger Series 2, Marcel. Again, the pacing is so bad with PFL, but the fights were decent, I thought. I actually think that PFL got some good prospects because I did the research for this card, and I think, they got a lot of guys that were in the LFA tournament, the one in Brazil, and also just LFA in general, Marcel, and then Titan FC, some other promotions. Like, they got some good prospects, or UAE, Brave CF. Like, they got good prospects. Let's go through this quickly. You got, the guy's name is shortened. It's Jarrah Hussein Al-Salawi. He's taking on Michael Lilly in the main event. And I will say this, this dude, the odds are minus 550, by the way, plus 400. So he's a huge favorite. He should win. And I think he's going to be the guy that gets the contract too, Marcel. This guy's good. He's coming off a great win over Ismail Nardiev, former UFC fighter, destroyed him with leg kicks. Also has a knockout win over Carlston Harris, Marcel. I think this guy's really good. Also a Cage Warriors veteran. We should mention that as well. Desert Force veteran, Brave CF. This guy's been fighting in the best organizations in that part of the world. Michael Lilly, 7-6 fighter. He's a Titan FC guy. He's had some good wins, but a lot of bad losses too. I'm positive that Al Salali wins, Marcel. I love him in this fight. I think he gets the contract. Any thoughts quickly?
Jarrah is a great fighter, man. I watched him many times in Brave. Although he dodged a huge bullet because of COVID, because he was supposed to fight Khamzat Chimaev for his title in Brave. And that fight got canceled due to COVID, and Khamzat got signed by the UFC. But he's a great fighter. I like him as well.
That's crazy because he obviously would have lost that fight. Let's be honest. There's no shame in that. No. That's crazy. Anyways, yeah, he should win this fight. He's a big favorite for a reason. Delano Taylor gets Mark Martin. Not related to me. Minus 215 Taylor, plus 170 Martin. Both 7-1. I don't know. I think it's close. Taylor is I believe he's a champion in Titan FC.
Yeah.
Mark Martin's coming off a win over Eric. What's this guy's name? He used to be in the UFC. Eric Montano. Yeah, it's not like a terrible win. Like I said, these guys are getting good wins, and good prospects from like Kambache, LFA. I guess Taylor, he should be favored, but I think it can go either way. Any thoughts?
I agree. I would kind of really maybe favor Delano Taylor. I'm more familiar with him, to be really honest. But this is a fun fight, I think. 7-1 both, so it should be good, man. Yeah. I really like it that they got these LFA Titan guys.
Yeah, man. They got good prospects.
Yeah. And it's important, I think, for your tournament to have also some new blood in the tournament, not almost all the time the same guys, but you get some prospects, who can have a great career in PFL as well. So I love it.
I agree. We got Carlos Leo minus 325 and Socrates Pierre plus 250. Any thoughts on that one quickly?
Not really familiar with Socrates Pierre, to be really honest. I think I saw Carlos Leo in that welterweight Grand Prix tournament in LFA. He did very well there, but I'm not too familiar with Socrates Pierre, to be really honest. So I know. How about you?
No, I'm not. I'm not too familiar with him, honestly. And then the last, this is why we have these cards, so we do get familiar with them, right? Mm-hmm. Chris Mixon against Nathan Pierce. These guys have no experience. 2-0 and 3-1. Minus 215 plus 170. Mixon, he's the favorite. He hasn't lost yet, but I don't really know why he's such a big favorite when these guys both have limited experience. Looks like a pick-up fight to me, kind of. Again, we don't have a lot of information on these guys.
Pretty much. If you're 2-0 against 3-1, it's pretty much a pick-em because you don't know too much about any of the guys. So yeah.
And then the last thing would be LFA also has a card. Just really quickly, I don't know if you looked at the card. There are.
You got Solomon Renfro, right?
Yeah, that's so. I want to talk about that fight, but quickly, the main event: Jacqueline M. Orman against Lavith Young. what do you think? Because Young is actually the favorite here, and Morim is an underdog, and I'm thinking she wins the fight or grappling next level. So what do you think?
Yeah, man. I mean, I kind of feel the same, but it's sometimes it's really weird, these odds. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I kind of feel the same. But yeah, I always say it's a women's fight, and then it's always difficult to pick. I'd say it all the time. I don't really, no disrespect to the women, but I really don't like to bet on women's fights because you saw it last week, man. What happened with Jessie Jess with Stephanie Egger, and I think another women's fight I had wrong. I don't know.
By the way,
one.
Jessica, she's come out after that fight, and it makes more sense because I was wondering. I'm like, what the hell is she doing? Why is she grappling with her? Like, I was watching that. Like, why is she pushing against the fence? She came out with saying she had performance anxiety, and she had a mental block in the fight. And she said she just went into autopilot. And she's like, I have no idea why I was clinching up against a judoka who's in like the Olympics and stuff. Like, it was just a weird game plan. Anyways, and then the other fight would be Solomon Renfro against Andrew Fugit. Adam Fugit, excuse me. I mean, Renfro, Marcel, he's good, right? Like, he almost won that fight in Contender Series. He should win this fight, right? I think. What do you think?
I'm really honest. I think he won that fight against Johnny Parsons.
I thought so too. I don't really know why Johnny Parsons is in the UFC. I don't think he's UFC caliber.
And I don't know. You give Candelario after a loss, you give him a contract, which I'm cool with.
Yeah.
But why you can't give it to Renfro or even get him?
I think Dave didn't like his fight, but I thought he looked good. Minus 350 on Renfro, plus 260 on Fugit. So there you go. Just a couple other comments here. Andrew's talking about Fury. Yeah, there's Fury as well. There was this guy Levi Moles who's really good. Marcel, he's fighting on Fury. That card is, when is that card? I can't remember now.
Fury also has always
27th,
different days.
Yeah. So they have, but I like this guy. He's fighting Justin Scoggins, a former UFC fighter. I think Moles wins. He's a nasty submission guy. I've talked to him on the podcast before. He's got these nasty twisters and stuff. And then Austin Lane's also on the card. Marcel, remember him? He fought Greg Hardy, I believe. And Mo Miller's in the card as well. Yeah.
Oh, and Abdul Karim Al Sawadi is also on the card. Okay.
Yeah, Fury is a good promotion, man. I mean, they definitely are solid. All right, I think that's gonna be it. Let me just see if there's any other comments. Not really. I think that's gonna be it. Yeah. Anything else you want to say, Marcel? By the way, he's saying Leo won the LFA Brazil tournament. Why was he not? Why is he not in the UFC? I don't get it. Tell me why. By the way, Marcel, why is he not in the UFC?
You tell me. I don't know.
I don't know. Why did they have the tournament then if they weren't going to sign these guys? I don't get it. Like, LFA is basically the UFC's minor league. I mean, anyone who's in the LFA will go to the UFC if they want. I can't imagine that this guy would rather be fighting in, well, I guess they have the chance to win $1 million. That's the thing. I would understand more if he's like gets an automatic berth in the tournament, but they have to beat out 4 guys to get the contract, Marcel. I think it's a little like it's hard, and I think this guy should be in the UFC. But anyways, all right, guys, that's gonna be it for today's podcast. Appreciate it, Marcel. Plug yourself. Let's get out of here, man.
Big Marcel 24, Twitter, Instagram, and I want to say my old website, Eurosport.nl, mixed martial arts. Yeah,
you guys, there you go. You guys can follow me on Twitter at @MMAOB. Podcast is at MMAOBdaily.com. It's on our YouTube channel, iTunes, Spotify, all those places. Like, share, subscribe, tell your friends about it. Also at mymmanews.com, and I'm at bookies.com. So looking forward to this card. Hope you guys enjoyed the podcast. Tomorrow I'll be my preview for UFC Vegas 49 with my best bets. Bookies has come out. It's free. It's a free article. So I've been doing really good with it this year. So hope you guys read it. The numbers are going up. And I know people are reading it, which is good to see. The boss, it makes me look good with the bosses, so I appreciate that. And then I'll also be doing a Twitter Spaces on Friday with Dan Kilbridge, a guy I work with there, and we're doing it on Friday afternoon, Marcel. Maybe you can join us this week. All right, guys, have a great day, a great weekend, and best of luck with your bets.